Did you guys see this? Like, lost in the Caleb Williams and his dad, Carl, saying, hey, Caleb could come back to school if we didn't, if he doesn't get the right team, doesn't get the number 1 pick. Was this. Caleb Williams says, and then the first pick in the draft. These are like what he's aiming for. And then the other one is 8 Super Bowls. He was asked, why 8? Tom Brady has 7, so you got to set the bar high. So, look, part of me goes, what's the expression? If people aren't laughing at your dreams aren't big enough. Right? It's a great line, by the way. You can share that. I didn't invent that. I saw that somewhere on a meme or whatever, and I just love the line. If people aren't laughing at your dreams, your dreams aren't big enough. It's pretty good, right? But, yeah, and this just, the whole thing comes across as talking out your rectum. It comes across, do you remember, I know Byer remembers this. Do you remember when, and I like Joe Tess. Do you remember when Joe Tess got the Monday Night Football gig and he did a sit-down interview? And it was like he was talking about his method and how he does play-by-play. And everybody in the industry is like, what happened to Joe Tess? He is feeling himself. You remember what I'm talking about?
I don't, but I think that actually makes it better.
Oh, okay. Google it. You'll be like, wow.
Because I've been a fan of his.
I love Joe. I've worked with Joe Tess. I actually like Joe Tess. But then there's points in which you're like, dude, relax. Gotta get over yourself a little bit. So it does happen. Like, I think we've all. Anytime you're a successful person, there's a point where you're like, whoa. And that's where you got to have friends that go like, dude, say that out loud to yourself. Like, ooh, yeah, don't want to be that guy. Don't want to be that guy. But regardless of which, that's like Caleb Williams. I mean, do I think he'll be the number 1 pick in the draft? Sure. Do we have the possibility that Drake May could be the number 1 pick? We do. It's not cemented. It's not done. And we're also acting like he's accomplished everything he needs to accomplish in college football. Well, I don't hate to be that guy, but I'll be that guy. Dude, you haven't won anything that matters. Didn't win the Pac-12 last year at USC. Hadn't won a college football playoff game. And, of course, haven't won a national championship. Like, yeah, you won the Heisman Trophy. Best quarterback in college football. I have friends on that staff who love the kid and think he's immensely talented and likely to be the number 1 overall pick. But, like, dude, you're acting like it's a done deal. I'm the number 1 pick, and if I don't get my way, I'm going to go and come back to school, and then it's going to work out, and this right team is going to present itself, and I'm going to win 7 or 8. Like, relax. Get over yourself just a little bit. So, in and of itself, saying, hey, the goal is 8 rings, not a big deal, right? If you're going to, if people aren't laughing at your dreams and your dreams aren't big enough. But when you couple it with the, hey, I want to be the first pick, oh, by the way, I can still come back to school, and 8 rings, you just get the overall sense of, my man is feeling himself. And somebody, and this is where Carl, the dad, needs to come in and go, my man, like, you can think it, but articulating it and saying it doesn't land the way you want it to land. Is that fair?
Yeah, this reminds me of, my whole stance on alliteration, right? Alliteration is like lazy, uncreative thing to do, but it really makes a mark. Remember Tank for Tua was a thing, I think, in the fall of 2018 or whenever that was. And we all know how that ended up. Tank for Tua, right?
Yeah.
I'm coming up with my own alliteration here, and I'm hoping it catches on.
Okay. We're going to just be
caving in for Caleb. I think the Cardinals are caving in for Caleb.
How about cave in for Caleb?
Caving for Caleb?
Yeah. I think caving in is a little bit redundant.
Okay. Caving for Caleb?
Caving for
Hashtag,
Caleb?
does that work, Dan?
What do you think, Dan?
I like www. Won't win for Williams. There's some alliteration.
Won't win for Williams.
You're right. That is good.
The late Barbara Walters. Barbara Walters did die, right? She did die. She alive?
Yes.
No,
she passed away.
She passed away, right? She would struggle with that one. She would struggle with that one. Won't win for Williams. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't do it without laughing.
Like Dan's game time that he created last hour could have been like, who are the teams most likely cave in for Caleb? You know, and it would have been the exact
Caving
same segment.
Caleb?
Doug and John still would have had the argument they had
Collapsing
about
for
the Colts from November.
Yeah. Collapsing for Caleb. I like caving for Caleb. I don't do you think you're okay with that, with eliminating the in? Caving. Now, is there a G or no G? Caving for Caleb?
Caving for Caleb sounds more edgy. Like it sounds, That's probably more.
You could do the Caleb collapse. You could reverse it.
Yeah, Caleb collapse.
But
collapsing for Caleb? No.
All right, we have a whole year to work on it because the Arizona Cardinals are clearly working on it. I think Tampa's going to work on it as well.